Broadcasting from Slough. Streaming around the world.
This is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Atom Radio. Oh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
The podcast.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to episode 169 of the Best Bits of Breakfast podcast on Atom Radio. You can check out The Breakfast Show 6 till 10, Monday to Friday, and that's where the best bits come from. You'll get them in a moment. The big news is, though, we are now 12 days away from the removal of all restrictions. Yeah! Finally something to celebrate. After, 23 months and a day, the restrictions should all be disappearing on the 24th of February. Some are worried. I am celebrating. On the way, in the Best Bits podcast this week, Neighbours. Plus, a look at history as well and what history tells us. An amazing purchase price. How to become multilingual in an easy step. Also, top tips on improving your music taste. Nights in, given that nights out are going to go up in price. And also, we look at possibly the world's craziest ever arrest on the way.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Announced over the weekend that Neighbours is going off the telly. I didn't know this. I know Channel 5 bought the rights to it after the BBC ditched it. Channel 5 bought the rights. It turns out, not only did Channel 5 buy the rights, but they've been paying an absolute fortune for it to be made as well. So Channel 5 have now decided, no, we're not. Fremantle have now decided, we can't make it without Channel 5's money, and therefore Neighbours is going to disappear. I saw a picture yesterday of the original cast of Neighbours shared on Twitter, and I was just thinking, that's probably the actual cast the last time I watched Neighbours.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
This day, 2015, printing blocks from a typing face called Dove's Type were discovered in the River Thames. They've not been used for nearly a century, however, as the blocks used to print the letters were dumped in the river in 1917. That doesn't tell me anything at all about old-fashioned type. What it tells me is that fly tipping occurred even a century ago.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
You know how there's been uproar recently about masks? Well, experts from Cambridge University have decided, scientifically this is, that putting ladies' tights over your face mask makes it better at stopping the spread of COVID. So therefore, for the last, 18, 19, 20 months, you've been told to wear something that could have been outstripped just by wearing ladies' tights. And then, if you really felt the necessity, I suppose you'd be well prepared to go rob a bank as well. Just saying.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Morning, this is Mark Denholm at Breakfast on Atom Radio. Loud, proud and standing out for the crowd on atomradio.co.uk. Tune in, Radio Box, Streamer, iTunes Radio and your smart speaker. A rare mint condition first ever Panini card of a young Cristiano Ronaldo. You know these cards you get in the football sticker things or football cards where you pay like £1 for 10 of them? Do you know how much this one card has sold for? Almost £60,000 at auction in the United States. So the money in football is not just in football as well, it's also in football card collectors as well.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Atom Radio, Mark Denholm at Breakfast on a Tuesday morning at 8:23. We're talking today about money and things that you wouldn't give up if you were saving for something, all because Kirsty Allsop says you could buy a house if you gave up Netflix and coffee. And I'm just sat here now thinking the realisation is dawning upon me that I am probably not the best person in the world with money. I'm quite frivolous and I'm not the best person anyway. On air at atomradio.co.uk is the email address for things you would not give up no matter what you were saving for.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
24 minutes to 9 o'clock. Today I'm asking you, what would you not give up if you were saving for something, right? Based on the fact Kirsty Allsop says young people are just moaning and they could easily buy houses if they gave up Netflix and their designer coffee every day, which equates to £1,000 a year if you were to buy a coffee every day and pay Netflix every month, right? Less than £1,000 you are spending, which means you still have many months of saving to do before that made any impact on the actual buying of a house. I'm asking you today, though, if you were saving for a house or indeed for anything, what one thing would you not give up spending out on in order to save? Tash, this is excessive if you don't mind my saying so. Tash would not give up buying shoes. Tash has listed out here, I've got 10 pairs of Uggs, I've got 40 plus pairs of trainers, I've got 40 plus pairs of heels, and I've got other like just generic flat shoes and that as well. And I just keep buying them, and they're all virtually as new, other than maybe a couple of pairs that are getting a bit old now. But I just keep buying them, and I don't think I'd stop, even if I was saving up for anything, because I just love my shoes. Tash, that's an awful lot. I mean, do you have like a room? What's your second name? Office? Clarks? I don't know. That is an awful lot of shoes that you own, if you don't mind my saying.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
16 minutes to 7 o'clock. Morning, welcome to Wednesday. This is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Loud, proud and standing out from the crowd. Banging out the anthems because it is what we do. You know how you could easily become multilingual, right? A lot of people talk about, and I'll be honest, right? As an English person, as a British person, I'll be honest. I think British people are probably the worst in the world at being multilingual. If you listen to a Polish person or a French person or whatever speak English, they speak English so much better than we speak their language. And it's quite embarrassing. But if you would like to be multilingual, the only word you can use is huh? Because that means the same in every language.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
And an important reason why you should let your little ones listen to this show, right? Okay? Your taste in music is something that develops through your experience and is not something that you are born with, you see. So if you let your little ones listen to this show, then they get all the anthems and imagine their musical taste when they grow up. You know, like today's music, not so great, but if you listen to the anthems, they are amazing.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Cast your mind back, if you will, to yesterday. Yesterday, we discovered that the cost of going out is expected to go up, along with pretty much the cost of everything. Everything. Doesn't matter whether you want to eat or whether you want to heat your house, whether you want to fuel your car. Doesn't matter. Everything is going out. Therefore, the cost of going out, not surprisingly, is going up as well, with pubs and clubs announcing we are not taking on board this 26% increase in cost that we've suffered, and therefore you will pay for it. Now, what that does do, of course, is it kind of... It puts them in a worse off position, because all of a sudden then people think, nah, we're not going out. We're not paying that. And then what ends up happening is clubs and pubs end up with nobody there. The staff get made redundant and the buildings close. And that's the vicious circle of what's going on at the moment with this biggest slump ever in the standards of living. Yesterday, though, I asked you, what was your ideal night in? And obviously, with the cost of going up even, I've got all my goings wrong there. With the cost of going up, I asked you instead, what would you do if you were going to stay in? And Mick, I think, summed it up absolutely perfectly with his email yesterday. And Mick's email said, it doesn't matter what you do and where you do it with, as long as you do it with the right people. If you spend your night with the right people, then it doesn't matter if your night is out in a pub or a club, or it doesn't matter if your night is inside your house or in your garden or whatever. And Mick's kind of just summed it up perfectly there, hasn't he? In terms of socialising, it's who you socialise with that makes the real difference as well. You could go to the most exciting place in the world, and if you go on your own, well, you'll be bored and lonely. You could alternatively stay at home and have the best friends ever come round, and then it's all okay, you see? So Mick summed it up perfectly yesterday. Thank you for that, Mick. That's sorted out the dilemma of nights out expensively or nights in cheaper. Mick sorted it out. It doesn't matter where you go. It's what you who you spend it with that makes all the big difference. Spot on, Mick. Thank you for that. Spot on.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
6:18 morning and welcome to Friday. Colleen Rooney says she can live with Wayne Rooney cheating. That's her husband, by the way. However, she goes on to say it's not a good thing for a husband to be left unsupervised. Isn't that where trust comes in for the lady, brought about by self-restraint for the man? I don't know, it just seems that simple to me. And in terms of perhaps most ludicrous arrest ever made, this happened 15 years ago in Iran. In Iran, in 2007, they arrested 14 squirrels for spying. I mean, come on. What did you do with the arrested squirrels? How did you interview them? Can you imagine trying to interrogate a squirrel? Yeah, I'll give you a nut if you tell me who sent you here to spy.
atomradio.co.uk.
As I sit here now, I am absolutely gutted that I didn't use "That's nuts" yesterday when talking about the squirrels arrested. 14 squirrels arrested for spying. That's nuts. That would have been the killer line, but I missed it yesterday altogether. But anyway, I still think it's a crazy, crazy, crazy story. We've arrested a squirrel, Sarge. What's the charge? Espionage. Oh yeah, because squirrels are well-known as spies, aren't they? You know, well-known threats to national security. You've always got to be... If you ever see one in your garden, just think, is that squirrel just actually looking for food? Or is that squirrel actually here, sent by somebody to spy? You see? You'll never know now, will you? Certainly not if you've ever been to Iran and watched squirrels being arrested. I don't know whether they were ever charged, by the way. It didn't say. I don't know whether they were charged. Don't know what happened to them. Maybe they're still in prison now. Who knows? Anyway, that wraps up episode 169 of the best bits of the podcast. You can subscribe in your favourite podcast app or indeed check our social media next weekend for episode 170.
Atom Radio. Playing the music you want to hear.
Right, down to the business. Monday to Friday, 6 till 10 on atomradio.co.uk. Tune in, Radio Box, Streamer, iTunes Radio and your smart speaker. That's when the magic happens live.
Atom Radio.